I call this meeting in order. The Plain Township Board of Trustees, everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For us, we have our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? I'm just going to put under concerns of trustees purple heart. I think based on process, technically it gets transitioned over to the fiscal officer until we get through the election of officers. Once that's done, we would then, whoever fills the roles, take it. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Tom, just to lead as far as the introduction of that segment.
Okay. Eric's got my resolutions. Grab these real quick.
Oh, here, or
I got them. Thank you, sir. Sure. So it's like, first up we have the election of officers.
I'm going to, on election of officers number 1, I'm going to move to nominate John Sabo as chairman of the Board of Trustees.
I'd like to second it.
Discussion? Sorry, I happened. I'm doing that for Tom. I'm doing that for Tom. Sorry, it's like instinct. Roll call.
Roll call. Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. Next up, we have election of the vice chairman. I'm going to nominate Brooke Harless as vice chairman of the Plain Township Board of Trustees.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. John, the gavel's all yours.
And we'll switch seats next meeting.
All right. All right, so we'll move to the beginning of the year resolutions. And I'll turn that over to our administrator.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to abide by parliamentary law and conduct meetings to Robert's Rules orders.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution to set the township trustee meetings on the second and fourth Tuesdays at 6 p.m. with work sessions the same time, same dates at 5:20 p.m. in the township hall.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Number 5 is a resolution to retain all full-time and part-time employees until the first meeting in 2023, except as the board may act provided by law.
I will move on beginning of the year resolution number 5.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you for that on behalf of all your employees. Resolution number 6 is to continue and affect all work rules and policies that were in effect on December 31st, 2021, up until including the first board meeting of 2023.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 7 is the list of the holidays.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Beginning year resolution 8 is in regards to providing mutual aid.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Beginning year resolution number 9 is the resolution to coordinate a fire and law enforcement agency.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Number 10 is one I hope we never have to use, but I need 2 appointments as chair and board member of the Volunteer Firefighter Dependents Fund Board.
I'd like to make a motion for John Sabo as chairman and Scott and I as board members.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hopefully we never have to use this.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 11 is to appoint myself as the official designee for the public records training.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 12, I need 2 appointments for the Stark Council of Government.
Also move to appoint myself as a representative to SCOG in the appointment.
Yeah.
Are you fine with that? You guys fine? Brooke is the alternative representative for 2022.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 13 is a resolution to submit to the auditor the request for advanced taxes.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 14 is a resolution for the Stark hazardous response.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 15 is a resolution in regards to zoning fees.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 16 is a resolution to authorize departments to use GovDeals as their internet auction.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 17 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with Computech for our server and monitor maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 18 is a resolution to authorize the fiscal officer to transfer funds between meetings.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 19 is for the sale of scrap metal under $2,500.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 20 is to appoint myself as the prevailing wage coordinator.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 22 is to continue all insurance
21.
benefits.
21.
Oh, 21,
Yeah,
got
21.
excited. All insurance benefits to full-time employees until the first meeting in 2023 unless amended, altered, switched, or changed by the board.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 22 is I need 2 appointments to the Tax Incentive Review Council.
Also move on beginning of your resolution 22, appoint me and Brooke as representatives.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 23 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with Planet Technologies for Office 365.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. That is the end of beginning the
Okay,
resolution.
so for the sake of the audience, if you've never been to a meeting, the longest meeting that you're ever going to come to is going to be the first of the year, because that's when all of the, get this stuff out of the order, so that we can start the new year and pick up with where we left off. So we have to do that. And also for the audience, at 6:15, we do have a zoning hearing. So regardless of where we are in the meeting, at 6:15, we'll stop for that hearing. So we can get a couple other items out of the way, new business.
Thank you. If it's okay with the chair, I'd like to switch new business number 2 and number 1. So hopefully we can get Harris Day done before the...
Okay?
Okay, so item number 2 under new business, which is now number 1, is to accept the attached design services from Sol Harris Day for the design of a new amphitheater to be located between Plain Township Hall and Oakwood Plaza. in an amount not to exceed $29,400 to be paid from the American Rescue Plan Act and appropriation fund for contracted services.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yes, I do have, I did pull you out to the longest meeting ever, Matt, to address the board if you wish, and
Matt Sutter, Solid Day Architecture, so I just want to say thank you very much for selecting us. We're really excited. I think that amphitheater over there is just going to be a fantastic addition to this whole area of the plaza, and just great synergies there between the businesses and the township. And so just want to throw it open if you had any questions for us.
Obviously, just timing the next steps.
Yeah.
It's one of those,
yeah,
like to be on it yesterday, but.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, the next steps here really is to get your leadership group together, hear from the community a little bit, get all the input. That's the first step, and then we start design work, which will be back and forth between us coming up with the design and then meetings to say, oh, yes, we like this, we don't like this. That goes through, and so that's the first part of the contract that we're talking about right now.
And so will you send us some potential dates that I can get out to everybody about that potential first meeting and?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, that would be great.
Expect that hopefully within a week to 2 weeks, we can pull that together.
Okay. And you said at that time we would invite some community partners like Grant Hill?
I would really like to do that.
Okay.
All the
First
all the
session is-
adjoining.
Yeah,
is we
perfect.
get the kind of brainstorming session together.
Okay. Thank you. And don't feel like you guys have to stay after the call.
And by the way, this is Justin Gantz, you'll be seeing a lot of him. He was responsible really for the Jackson Township amphitheater, so got all that expertise on board.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, we're gonna be cutting this close, but can we get,
I'll move on. Old new business, number 1, down new business, number 2, to be hereby resolved that Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to appoint J.P. Neff to Highway Superintendent effective January 1st.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is really procedural formality, taking him from transitioning superintendent to officially leading the entire crew down there, no longer having to try to co-manage with another highway superintendent staff. So I just know when we went through the process, the cream rise to the top, as you always say, John. The changes that I've seen already from communication, which I expect to continue, to just general tone and mood amongst the ranks from those that I've talked to. Thumbs up. Let's continue to facilitate and foster that culture. And 3, let's be hungry and find those opportunities out there to exemplify to our public the level of service we provide every time.
And I think it speaks volumes that your leadership team is here tonight for this. We've never seen that in that department, so that speaks to the change.
Absolutely.
Any further?
Yeah, we're just super excited.
Yeah.
We've actually never done this process before, and it was as much a learning experience for us as it was for everybody else, but I've done it in the fire department before, and I can tell you, the person that's going to impress you the most is the person that's going to rise to the top. And we're excited. So congratulations. We haven't voted on you yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But congratulations, but we are cutting it close, so, Brooke?
I'm very excited because you've already made some changes. I can already see a difference in the team down there. I am looking forward to what else you bring to the table. As of right now, you've already rose to the top with your planning, your details, everything. The group is just very excited to have you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes?
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Can we adjourn the executive discussion? Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now I can congratulate you. Okay, so we are going to have a 6:15 zoning hearing, and I'm going to turn that over to our zoning inspector, Tom Ferrara. So Tom, just kind of give us a little bit of just a quick overview, and then I'll go into anybody who wants to speak against, anybody in favor, and then we'll move with that.
Okay, if I might first, Mr. Giltz, let me know that he's gonna be a little bit late, and he should be here by 6:30. I don't know, he's begging your indulgence.
It was published in the paper, so unfortunately it does have to start on
Okay.
time.
This is,
It's going to be in the meeting portion, not the hearing
Yeah, this
portion.
is just the hearing to get.
This is the hearing, and then you'll.
Warned against.
Okay, I got it. All right.
this is a zone change for the property located at 3801 Harmont. That's Harmont and 62, the old Kmart building, property. The property contains the old Kmart, secondary building, and used to have the gas station. All that is being taken down. And as you, the whole place has become an eyesore. What Mr. Giltz would like to do is to change the zoning so that he can work at bringing that property up to the standards that he has provided back at Oakwood Square.
In a light industrial.
A light
format,
industrial.
Which this is not.
Right. Most of the property surrounding that property, the Kmart property, is industrial. There is some business, but mainly across 62. They even have the Central Ally to the rear of that property with all their sand and gravel quarry. I believe that the light industrial would fit into this neighborhood neatly because of all the light industrial around it already. This has been approved by RPC and approved by the zoning commission. The zoning commission approved it with modifications because of a signature from Carol Ann Cope, who is with her husband, who owns that property. The signature wasn't quite right for the board, but they approved it with the modification that Grant get the proper signatures, and he has done that. That's all I have.
Okay. So is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak in opposition for the proposed zoning?
Ava, do you have anything to say?
Anyone? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of the proposed zoning change? So hearing none, I will close this hearing at 6:18. And that will be up for a vote in the regular portion under the zoning. So let's move now to the fiscal officer's report. And he does have a lengthy one also.
Thank you. Fiscal officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the fiscal officer to pay vendors and utility bills and include them on the pending warrant list of the next regular meeting.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 3 is the financial report for December.
Any specific questions, you can check with the fiscal office.
Fiscal officer number 4 is a resolution to authorize the payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
For second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 5 is a liquor license application from Premier Hospitality LLC, DBA, The Bistro of Oakwood and Patio, 2664 Easton Street Northeast, Canton, Ohio, 44721.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's just a change of ownership in
Yeah,
name, so.
that's,
The general
Yeah.
manager.
yeah,
bought the
we're
business.
familiar with it, so we'll want that moving forward.
Okay. Fiscal Officer number 6A through 6D are the bank reconciliations for September, October, November, and December.
Okay.
And Fiscal Officer number 7 is a resolution to enter into the attached agreement with Finley to complete the actuarial valuation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 9.833 and to authorize payment from the fund 1000-110-360-0000, not to exceed the amount of $2,500.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes Fiscal Officer
Thanks,
report.
Tom. That takes us to the sheriff's report.
Come up for.
Yep, wherever you want.
Sergeant, who's going to do it tonight?
Hi.
Welcome.
Before you should have the December 2021 monthly report. Our calls for service were down slightly compared to 2020 with 930. Crashes were up considerably. We had 68, or 48% increase. Crashes with injury were down slightly, 10 total. Alarms continue to drop. We're 61, seems to be about the average now. We're on the cusp of 100, a year or more ago, that seemed to be the average. We had 202 traffic stops, 183 citations with a huge increase on that, 60 arrests, 670 vacation watches and security checks were conducted for December, and Detective Little had 8 assigned cases, with 3 closures, 2 missing persons, and a threat. You should have your 2020, 2021 look back, a comparison, and then the yearly since we started doing this.
7 years of information.
Yeah, no.
I mean, yours, we have them before and didn't have it, but that had to do with the leadership
Yeah.
philosophy, so that's good trending.
It's kind of neat to look back and look at the kind of, you can see trending,
Yeah.
when we start to trend up, but clearly we're kind of working our way down again. We'll see.
I think that corresponds though with the passage of the levy, and we hired, a bunch of deputies, then we saw the
Absolutely.
big trend up, and now it's kind of leveling to,
Proactive deterrence.
we're able to proactively respond now.
It definitely peaked in 2018.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see it stave off a little bit. And it's still, I think 930 calls for service is still
Yeah.
keeping our people very
Yeah,
busy.
very.
So, and very, very proactive as well.
Yes.
158% increase on traffic stops,
Yeah.
traffic citations. So the guys are definitely being proactive.
Yeah. And the vacation checks
Mhm.
are newer, that's, we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yep. All right, guys, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Stay safe. So that takes us to the administrator, but before we get started, you're going to hear a lot of amended resolutions, and that's simply because we have transferred over from an old accounting system to a new accounting system. So most of these are simply correcting the numbers on the resolutions, not because we've changed anything up, but it's a correction to comply with the accuracy of where the funds are actually coming from. So I'll turn that over to our administrator.
Thank you. Item number 1 is an amended resolution to do exactly what you told for our inventory system, as they are all new fund numbers from admin, fire, roads, parks, and zoning, as the old don't exist.
So move on Administrator 1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to amend a resolution in regards to the authorization and approval for payment of 2022 Explorer Interceptors.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Admin number 3 is an amendment to amend our resolution to pay Stark Soil and Water.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. The last item is I don't think it's the last item. No. Item number 4 is a resolution to amend a previous resolution for payment in the amount not to exceed $21,788 from the corrected fund.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And the last item is to approve and authorize payment to various vendors for a blanket purchase order for equipment to be purchased for the 2020-22 sheriff cruisers, not to exceed $35,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Hold on.
Oh,
Discussion. Where's the resolution at? I don't see it. I'm either scrolling over it or it's not.
yeah, it's way down. That's
Yeah, it's
administrator
down.
number 5. Yeah,
So now,
yeah, it's down pretty
mine
much.
showing it goes from administrator number 3.
It's
Well,
after
there's,
the-
yeah,
To new-
you have to keep scrolling,
So
because the old
Yeah, they attached the
resolutions
old
are followed.
resolutions too, and that's why
All
it's
right.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you. That's the end of the administrator report.
Thanks. That takes us to Fire Chief Schellenberger.
Thank you. Item number 1 is our December of 2021 report.
We still seeing delays at the hospital because of COVID waits?
Not as bad this week,
Okay.
but still delayed.
Yeah.
How's staffing hanging? Because I know we've had some folks in, some folks out, and then based upon call volume, it.
I'm down to 2 off work, so from 9.
Any questions? Nothing significant to point out. Okay, next.
Second is our annual report for the year. And probably the most significant thing is that's the highest run volume we've ever had. We're over 5,500 calls this year.
Oh,
And obviously a lot of that is due to COVID.
oh, absolutely. Geez, it makes my legs hurt. Seeing that picture of that stir climb.
So much for only a few laps.
Yeah, 3 trips. Okay, next.
Yes, along with the other departments, I do have a bunch of amended resolutions also. So item number 3 is a resolution to amend resolution 21648 for scheduling for lab tech system.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution to amend 21-649 for Wacom Auto Family.
I will move on FD number 4.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 5 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment for gasoline, oil, and diesel fuel for McIntosh Oil Company not to exceed $15,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 6 is a resolution to offer employment to Tristan Hamilton as an EMT basic as he's completed his background and drug testing and to be available for work on January 12th at $700.
So moved.
Or second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Any
Roll call.
relation to Craig Hamilton?
No.
All right, let's-
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 7 is a resolution to authorize reimbursement for Steve Ash in the amount of $400 for healthcare membership according to Provision 37 of the collective bargaining agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Number 8 is a resolution to amend Resolution 21548 for Life Pack AEDs and equipment, and those are split from different departments.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Make sure I get the right one here, that's a lengthy one.
Yeah, number 10.
Oh, number
Oh, it's 9, sorry.
Nine,
Yeah.
Yep. So, number 9 is resolution to amend 21-216 for the purchase of iSimilate equipment per attached quote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Now it's number 10.
Number 10 is also a resolution to amend Resolution 21525 for the payment of one stair chair from the Stryker Corporation.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes? Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Number 11 is amendment, resolution to amend Resolution 21604 for the purchase of diagnostic equipment from truck sales to be split from road and fire.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Number 12 is also a resolution to amend 21-592 for trench rescue equipment from Atlantic Rescue Systems.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And number 13 is a resolution to amend Resolution 21464 for the building and construction of the storage addition at 2855 Easton Street.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department. Sorry for the lengthy amendment.
Thanks, Chuck. That takes us to road. Mr. New Road Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to say I'm very excited and grateful for the opportunity to serve the board and our residents alongside our amazing team here in Plain Township. So I know we were cut short. I wanted to say that before, but moving on, I'll keep it short and sweet for you here in road. Road number 1, we have our monthly report.
That work order comparison is really nice. We've not had a graph before to visualize.
Thank you. Yeah, Teresa helped me out with that and
Thank you, Teresa.
research and all that. So.
And would I be correct to say pothole patching has gone down because road paving mileage has gone up?
Yeah, significantly. I'd like to note that, in the last 4 years, we've averaged about 16.95 miles per year if you average the last 4 since
About 10%
2018.
of the roadway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Year.
So it's 67.8 miles we've paved the last 4 years. So I know we've gotten aggressive on our paving, and I think it's paying dividends, and it shows.
Good job.
Road number 2 is our roads annual report.
Anything significant there?
Just a lot of vectoring. We used about 437 tons of in-house asphalt, which, prolongs our streets and helps with the in-house repair. So
And did 18.25 miles.
Yeah,
an hour.
we did 18.25.
Very
this year.
aggressive,
Yep.
very good.
And then road number 3, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment to McIntosh Oil for gasoline, oil, and diesel fuel at a cost not to exceed $15,000 from the following funds.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
So just as a quick question, at the next meeting, will we continue to see just account adjustments on any resolution for like road? I just, with fire, I saw it and I figured we have nothing outstanding right now?
Yeah, we have, road has 3.
So it's just
Yeah,
being worked on?
we're going to do it next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, that takes us to zoning. Mr. Fuller.
First item on the agenda, sir, is the monthly report.
I just want to point out, job well done, because we had an increase of almost 15,000 over the last year, and that's the loss, with the loss of some revenue that we used to have, so, well done.
Again, last year, Plain Township led the way in new residential development. That's 2 years in a row. But maybe 3.
Yeah, nice.
And
Okay.
and another new item, though, that I think is worth mentioning, that there were a total of 317 nuisance complaints, and only 35 of those resulted in the need for the board to go through the abatement process, so 282 residents voluntarily cleaned up, and that speaks volumes.
So about 12%, so 88% resolution.
Yeah.
Good. Next.
Item number 2 is the annual report.
Anything specific to point out?
One of the things that the staff has done very well for the last several years is getting the residents who they've approached for the problem to clean up their own mess before we have to. And we've been able to keep that, keep the point where we send our crews out down to only 11% of all the complaints that come in each year, on average.
Good job. Next, number 3.
Item number 3 is a resolution to declare item A as a nuisance abatement.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Next.
Item number 4 is a resolution a zone change.
I'll make a motion, move on the zone change from 3801 Arlon Avenue.
Correct.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Grant? We actually did the hearing, but we thought this would be a good time for you to speak. So anything that you wanted to say during the hearing, step forward and say it now.
We had to stick,
Yeah.
because it's a published advertised time. We
Yeah.
We had to keep with it, so here's our way to, any comments you make.
Apologize, I missed my earlier window. No excuses for that, but apologize. Happy New Year to everybody. Good seeing everybody again. Again, this is the rezoning for the Kmart property on 3801 Harmon Avenue. It's a property that's been blighted for a long time. It's a big building that's sort of, at its run. It's been built, it's been there for over, I think it was close to 50 years. And so I think the Kmart building, those big box users now need to have a new purpose. Retailing is gone by the wayside on that size of a building. with Amazon getting built down the road, it's becoming we're starting getting some interesting phone calls of ancillary businesses that feed off of the distribution centers. And so we'd like to redevelop that building, get a new face on the building, new parking lot on the building, new roof on the building, LED lighting on it, get some energy efficiencies going on there. Obviously, the announcement of Aldi's going into the hard corner, wanting to relocate out of the city of Canton into Plain Township is a big win for all of us. And I think it just further validates that that property is a diamond in the rough property that just needs redeveloped. And we're looking forward to taking on that challenge.
Needs a little love, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I certainly applaud the efforts, because if you pull off even half the magic that you've done back here, I mean, we're gonna be significantly further ahead. I mean, just for the record, and this isn't to blow smoke at you, but I mean, the developers that we get that come in, residential or commercial, there's a lot that love to talk. Not necessarily too many that deliver. You've delivered on everything you've committed to on any project. So in that spirit, I'm looking forward to voting on this.
Appreciate that, and it's just not me, it's everyone behind me that works hard to make Open Square happen the way it is, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would agree. Seeing is believing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the best indicator of how things are gonna go, so.
Right.
I know we have a good partnership, you work well with our team.
Yep.
Vice versa. I hear nothing but good things constantly.
Let's
So,
keep it going into 2022, and we have a lot more great things happening
And
at
it's
Open Square.
exciting for
Share
us,
those
that's
with you guys
for sure.
too, so.
good. Well, thank you.
Anything else?
Anything else?
No, we look forward to it. I mean, I echo John, I haven't heard anything but positive with Oakwood Square, so I'm very much looking forward to what we can do with the campus.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes,
Thanks, Grant. That takes us to parks.
Thanks. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
How's our bathroom coming along over there? I hate
Good,
saying
we
it,
we should be hoping to get into final inspections later in the month. Steve was out of town for his anniversary, we're touching base this week, but we're looking at hopefully closing up shop here and opening the doors for real next few weeks.
Nice. Any questions or anything? Next.
Item number 2 is the annual report.
Anything significant there, Rob?
Just the bold up top, growth in revenue has been pretty significant, and that includes, shelters that were shut down for the better part of 5 months, 2 different points in the last year and a half. I think that comes from the growth in the programming and the rentals around. I mean, we are at that quintessential phrase, capacity. We're busting at the seams at this point.
That's good. All right, number 3.
Number 3 is a resolution to hire Hannah Clark as a software supervisor at $10 an hour with no benefits to be paid out of fund, and I'm gonna get used to saying this, 2901-610-112-1000, with a hire date of January 12th, pending drug and alcohol and background tests, which have all come back already to the good.
So moved.
second,
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
yes,
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Keeping the theme of amending resolutions, we're going to amend Resolution 21-385 to the new UAN codes with the Stanley Miller Company for the construction project.
Moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
yes,
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thanks, that concludes Park.
That takes us to our law director.
Yes, sir, thank you. Just informational this evening, and that is, excuse me, the Kirby Avenue annexation was approved by the commissioners. That is the one we objected to out of an abundance of caution, given the, I guess it would be what, southern portion there that looks mismatched and confused. So they did take a look at that, and they did pass it.
communications. That takes us to the public speaks portion of our agenda. If there's anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board at this time, please feel free to come to the podium. Give us your name and address, and speak to the board. Seeing none? That takes us to concerns of trustees. Mr. Haas.
Just wanted to update you, Mr. Wolf and I took on a personal initiative to get the funding taken care of for Purple Heart. We have been able to secure approximately $7,200. That closes the gap, done deal. So for the sake of parks, we need the drawings pulled back out to revisit the vertical design, and we need to start putting the feeler out to Ken Noon for timing based upon where the material comes from, lead time, what his backlog is. So we've had once I finalize the list, I'll announce everybody who's donated to that, but there were a number of businesses and a couple foundations that I was able to get it out of. We were able to do that through Tom's Heroes Honor Inc. that he had set up for the sake of the township, so it's tax deductible through a non-profit entity. So that project's fully funded and ready to go.
Oh, that's good.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, so that's the first priority, is to get that monument. And then, once we get that, then we can determine where it's going to go, how it's going to fit into the footprint, the logic that we're going to use in the placement, and all of that. Because that'll be the easy part, though. The wait time is going to be to get that monument made. Good job. That's pretty exciting.
That was fantastic. Thank you.
Anything else? Trustees, nothing from the fiscal officer.
No concerns.
That takes us to the approval of minutes, December 28th, and I will so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
So we do have a need for an executive session. And be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 6:47 from this regular meeting of January the 11th, as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose and consideration of 1F, compensation of a public employee or official, and 4, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.